really gaining some ground. Harvest season picking up. You see and hear the trucks at ethanol plants like this one, also elevators, and we're going to bring you a condition report as to what's going on out there at those Nebraska fields. Also tonight on the show, meet the youth of the month, and we have your grow forecast. And of course, a lot of elevators dealing with storm damage from earlier in the year, forced to adapt and really handle those harvest conditions going into the season. It's all here on the show. Thank you for joining us. The weather this last week has really helped out several farmers in the area. Many on Facebook tell us that the corn's finally beginning to dry out and really get out there into the fields and pick some of that corn. A lot of seed corn is coming out of those fields as well. Here's a look at the conditions going on here around the state. While it's been off to a slow start this harvest season, before this last week, the USDA report shows only 19% of corn was harvested compared to the average 34% by this date. 45% soybeans harvested, the average usually around 66. 95% of the expected winter wheat crop has been planted, slightly above the 91% average. USDA also says that we're about the halfway through mark here when it comes to the harvest season. The growing season ended with a killing frost in all but about a few southern counties. Here's a look at the conditions out there. Corn conditions rated 52 good, 23% excellent. Soybean conditions 54 good and 20 excellent. Soybeans dropping leaves 97%, equal to average. Livestock pasture range report showing conditions 32 fair and 47 good. One thing to note with these conditions and all these numbers, you might remember last year there was a government shutdown, so the USDA did not have any reports last year. So as far as comparing averages, they've had to do a 5-year average. They don't have any numbers to compare for last year. Now, we're here at an ethanol plant, but as far as elevators, co-ops in Nebraska really stepping up, and they are compared to others across the nation. 9 of the top 100 co-ops are right here in the Cornhusker State. The largest co-op in Nebraska continues to be AGP of Omaha, number 5 in the country. This week, the USDA released its rankings of the top co-ops, and you can check out the list on your screen. Many of them in the viewing area. Kansas had 4 of the top 100. Also, $25 million complex gets farmers on the fast track. NTV's Grow co-host Steve White has a look at this.
They call it a multiplex. It's all about speed and space, handling lots and lots of grain, getting it out in a hurry. Straight from the farmer's field, corn arrives at an enormous facility as Aurora Cooperative has invested $25 million in Superior.
Be a big splash down in this area.
Superior East, as they're calling it, is a joint venture between Aurora Cooperative and the nation's largest co-op, CHS. They can hold around 5 million bushels of grain, ready to be loaded onto train cars that will circle the complex.
One more outlet for the Aurora Co-op to ship that grain across the country.
These farmers are among the first to deliver corn here.
We can dump 2 trucks in about 5 minutes and get truckers back out, farmers back out in the field doing what they do best, picking that crop and bringing it back into us.
The manager says it's highly automated and may be the fastest grain elevator in the area. They'll be able to fill 110 train cars at a time, loading 80,000 bushels an hour to be sent to buyers who will process it for livestock feed and other uses. No farmer could build an operation like this alone, and the manager says that's the value of a co-op, as farmers are the owners and collectively they make it happen.
The Aurora Co-op is growing by leaps and bounds, and it's fun to be a part of a project like this where we have a state-of-the-art facility. We want to just be able to take care of our farmers as best we can.
They hope to have those concrete silos open next month and then begin shipping out to the west and south. Even international markets have those trains loaded up by December.
Our farmers are the key to feeding a growing world, and a $63 million investment into an expansion really shows the bright future in the ag industry here in Nebraska. NTV's Grow co-host Steve White brings you the details.
Corn naturally has...
There's no place like Nebraska, with farmers, farmland, and maybe most important, irrigation that ensures a crop every year. And that's why Syngenta invested $63 million to expand its seed corn production plant near Phillips.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is definitely based on the history of the plant, the growers that we have, the employees that we have, the hard work, the consistent yields, the high-quality seed we produced, and obviously water in the state of Nebraska.
Thank you for your investment.
Governor Dave Heineman and Congressman Adrian Smith helped the company celebrate. Seed corn has been grown here since 1943. The name on the property has changed, and they've added 42 acres for the expansion
in our new state-of-the-art packaging facility.
But they build on a legacy that spans generations.
From the 1940s, 1950s, if we don't have a father, a son, or a grandson, it's the same base that we've always had.
What has changed is technology and demand. Farmers feel the pressure to grow more with less ground and less water.
That we are helping the growers to have more yield, increase yield by 20% without using additional inputs.
Hundreds of growers in the area raise the seed corn for Syngenta.
It's been a long-standing plant in the area. It's been very good to work with.
The plant employs 375 full-time and seasonal workers, up 50% with the expansion. They sort and package that seed corn to be planted next year.
If we're not sending seed directly to the customers, we're feeding our other facilities in the U.S., basically feeding the U.S. corn grower.
We know weather events really impact agriculture, even in the animal industry. There's a new website launched that's hoping to help out. The goal is to help reduce the cost of climate change. $346 billion U.S. animal ag industry is already paying the price for an unstable climate. New data released in September indicates atmospheric concentrations have risen faster than expected in 2013. The USDA Animal Agriculture in a Changing Climate Project launched a website at animalagricultureandclimatechange.org. The website offers free science-based educational resources and online training. It will be available through July of 2016. Some have a fear that winter's return could have a big toll on the progress that's being made to fight against a virus that's killing baby pigs. Pork prices hit record highs this summer. Farmers weren't able to feed the demand, mostly because of PEDV. The virus killed millions of baby pigs, but strides are being made. The latest USDA production update shows more piglets are surviving and producers are building up pork herds. New farm procedures like disinfecting trucks helped reduce the spread of PEDV. Many producers are optimistic the virus is under control, but winter's return could be a problem since the virus thrives in cold, damp conditions. Here at the Kappa ethanol plant in Mendon, they've been able to adapt and adjust after storm damage took out a couple of their bins, and they're not alone. There was storm damage in other elevators, co-ops as well, and NTV's Tanner Kaler takes a look at what one of them was able to do.
Keene Co-op had many of their dry bin facilities knocked out in the Father's Day storms last summer. And even though they haven't built new bins for this fall's harvest, they say that they're handling more grain than they did last year.
We've seen some damage to winds like we had, but nothing lasted as long as it did during the Father's Day storm.
Co-op facility manager Lance Jeldon says the strong winds that blew through on June 15th lasted almost an hour.
The area right behind me, we lost 6 bins, a leg, and an overhead loadout.
Though much of Keene's facilities were destroyed, their hopes of busy fall harvest traffic were not.
We put up a million bushel bunker behind me, and actually we were faster than we were last year in taking grain.
Jeldon says the new storage flat at the facility means less lines and faster grain unloading times. They've gone from being able to handle 4,000 bushels an hour to just under 15,000. Keene wasn't the only facility damaged in the storm. Many others across the state are working to rebuild too.
It's been challenging. It's been challenging with the markets, what has happened. It's been challenging with the storms. It's been challenging for us. You know, we lost a lot of space with all the storms. We're trying to do basically 18 months of construction in about 60 to 90 days, and we're going to have it all done. So it's been very good.
That can-do attitude sprouting from Nebraska-grown hard work and support.
We had a lot of support. We had a few farmers come in. They loaned us some equipment. They helped out with the cleanup a little bit, and they were very supportive.
Now, Aurora Co-op, which runs the Keene facility, says the $1 million damage impact that they sustained last summer has not impacted business at all this fall. They said they're going to wait till after the harvest to determine whether or not they're going to rebuild. Reporting in Keene, Nebraska, Tanner Kaler, NTV News.
On Facebook, many of you producers have commented that you're done picking seed corn. That part of production actually increasing here in the state. We'll have more on that after the break, and later on, a look at your grow forecast. Stay with us.